Hi, my name is Roger Crowley. This is my wife, Miranda. My daughter's name is Magnolia Rose, DavidJames, and Dimitri Roy. We're the Riley's.
Okay, so a normal day for us is ABA, speech, OT. The kids have the extracurricular activities that they do. Magnolia did dance. She had her first recital, which was awesome. Gymnastics, and they both are doing swimming, which they are thriving in. So we always encourage families to do recreational activities. Don't ever say what your child cannot do, because they really will surprise you. Magnolia will be starting equine therapy in the fall. We did a little trial. We didn't think that she would like horses. Now she don't want to get off of them. So, I mean, it's just amazing what these kids are capable of. But the normal day is just us together dealing with the babies. So, a little bit about Magnolia Rose. She's 5 years old. She's the only girl and the oldest of the three. She was diagnosed with autism when she was 2 years old, right after we had DavidJames, actually. Magnolia is a social butterfly. She loves being around kids. She loves getting hugged. She loves meeting new people. She loves her banana muffins. We go through how many boxes a week? We really need to buy stock in the tiny tots muffins, banana muffins. That's what she eats, and she has to have them. That's her little food that she loves. But yeah, she's a little social butterfly. It's a little girl.
Yeah, she is a blessing to us. And she has definitely shown us how to be different parents. And not your typical, in a way, typical parents, but from a different perspective. So it's definitely new for both of us, but we're very rewarding as well.
She is nonverbal. And I self-diagnosed her as having apraxia. I do need to check into actually getting that. I'm hoping it's childhood apraxia. But she uses a talking device. She attends ABA with Dream Catchers. And she'll be starting kindergarten in the fall. And I don't know if I'm ready. So that's Magnolia Rose. So DavidJames. DavidJames is a ball of energy. And if you hear him in the background, because we are shooting this late in the evening after we just took family pictures, which was a whoo. It was fun. But DavidJames, he's still up. Magnolia, she's asleep, but DavidJames, he can stay up all night long if you let him. When he is woke, he is on 100 until he passes out. He loves dinosaurs and cars, and he loves to count his number. He loves to count, say his ABC, say his colors, animals, the animal sounds. He has lots and lots of words, lots of labeling and listing. Yes, lots and lots of energy. It's not good. His favorite thing to do is 1, 2, 3, jump, and he's jumping off his own. So that's him. Yeah, he's 2 years old. He's the little middle one.
I first realized that Magnolia was different. She really didn't do a lot of what the average kid would do around the ages of 1, and you know, she started walking and all these things, but not necessarily talking and speaking, you know, like the average child would, you know, typically start talking. So, you know, Miranda started noticing some things about Magnolia that, you know, just didn't settle, you know, right with her. And I'm just, you know, kind of chalking it up to, you know, just her growing up and, you know, figuring it out on her own. And then eventually coming into it. But little did I know there was much more than that.
Yeah. I first noticed something was different when she was, I want to say 18 months old. I had to babysit my sister's 4-month-old while she went on a 2-week job training, and we had her little girl for 2 weeks basically, and she was babbling and giving us eye contact and, you know, wanting our attention for just the sake of attention, not because she was hungry or she was wet, or it was just she wanted to interact with us. And I remember talking to my mom, it's like, why is this 4-month-old doing this and my 18-month-old isn't doing something? And I think she was the first person who asked me about what about autism, and I was like, no. I don't think that's it. But I think what did we do? We I went into I started researching what autism was, because I'm saying no, it's not autism, but I didn't really know what autism was at the time. And then I started watching YouTube videos, TikToks, Instagram Reels, Facebook things, you name it, I was looking it up, and every single child that I saw Magnolia in those children, and I cried for a week straight. Cried for a week straight because, I mean, I didn't know anything about autism, nothing about it, didn't know, like, what did this mean for my child? What is her future gonna look like? I was just at a loss. But after I had my week of crying and, you know, trying to figure it out or whatever, or come to grips with it, that's when, you know, I made the appointment with a pediatrician, and, you know, to see, like, what are our next steps. Now, with DavidJames, I started noticing things way early. Now, he's completely different because, okay, so every child is different, but he's completely different than Magnolia as far as how he was interacting. DavidJames was giving us eye contact, still gives us eye contact. He responds to his name when he wants to, but he's 2, so I mean that's average for any 2-year-old. But he was giving the eye contact, doing the smiling, doing all the, like, different things that Magnolia wasn't doing at his age, but he wasn't talking. He was using gestures and communicating through gestures, and basically he made his own little sign language with different things, and we really thought that he was just mimicking Magnolia, but me being a proactive mama, I asked for the pediatrician to give me a referral early. I said, because early I asked for speech. I said he should be speaking now. I didn't know anything about autism when it came to Magnolia, but I know better now because I was pregnant with DavidJames when we got Magnolia's diagnosis. I started seeking out information, or started seeking to get him diagnosed while I was pregnant with this baby, with Dimitri. So for each pregnancy, I got a diagnosis of autism. But we went on ahead, and even the pediatrician was telling me, I don't think it's autism. We had family and friends. I don't think he's the same as Magnolia, but a mother's intuition, like I see what I see. I'm around more of these children now. I need to get him tested, and we did, and he was able to get tested early and receive a diagnosis.
The steps that I took to understand the differences was first accepting, what was actually going on. Once I accepted what was going on, my next step for me mentally was, okay, so what do we do now? It wasn't, well, really and truly, it wasn't like A, B, and C type of situation, because, Magnolia is not an A, B, and C child. So, once we began to, once we got the diagnosis and we were able to then do all the proactive stuff, like, the ABA clinic and just learning her different characteristics, and then we could kind of navigate and tailor that to the experience that we were having with her. But yeah, there's no A, B, and C. No 1, 2, 3. It's just day by day.
I would definitely say, like, the steps that I took to understand her differences or whatever, I just poured into research, literally trying to find out anything and everything I could about it. It took forever to get Magnolia's diagnosis. In EBR, the wait is between 8 months to a year to get a diagnosis. It took us, I want to say, 10 months? Between 8 and 10 months, something around there, to finally get in with the therapist, wait for it, and then do all the testing. Because we went to see a couple of different we went to see a neurologist first, and they didn't give me the answer that I was looking for. They were telling us that it was just that she had low muscle density and a speech delay. And at the time, I'm like, this is more than low muscle density and a speech delay. So, I mean, I went with that, but I'm like, I need more. Like, and so again, we had to wait to get tested, and once that was done or whatever, then they give you a packet and saying, like, here are the resources in your community. Good luck. Basically, that's what happens, and you have to figure it out from there. With DavidJames, thank God that we already had the ball rolling with Magnolia and didn't have to experience that again with the whole trying to figure it out and everything. I was very proactive in getting him tested, as far as going to, because he got tested at the same clinic that Magnolia got tested at, and I made sure, like, how do I say this? That, like, his sister already attends here. His sister's already diagnosed. I'm also 7 months pregnant. I need a diagnosis before I go in to deliver. Like, let's get this ball rolling. We shouldn't have to wait as long as we did. We got those numbers, but still being already in the community, already in that clinic where they were doing the testing, I was able to email a few people to be able to get get him tested sooner, and getting him the therapies and stuff that he needs now. So it's just being proactive and doing your research and figuring out what you need, what's in your community to help you.
Right.
So my initial feelings, due to the fact that Magnolia was the first one to be diagnosed, my initial feelings were I was scared. Truth be told, I didn't know anybody with autism. Well, I didn't know that I knew anybody with autism. Come to find out, one of my long-time clients had autism, and I didn't even realize it. But I didn't know what her future now, like what was her future gonna look like. How's school gonna be? How's interacting with other people gonna be? Like all the different things that you already have a fear for your child anyway. But now that you know that your child has an exceptionality, and the world is cruel to begin with, but the world is not built for your child who has an exceptionality. Like, what is her life gonna be like? If I'm not here to advocate for her, what's gonna happen to her or whatever? So it was a lot of fear behind it, like when she got the diagnosis. And like I said, they gave us a packet of all these different things, and like these are your resources in the community, and that half of those things in the packet weren't reliable, and then trying to find a community or whatever, that was a semi-challenge. Because I mean, if you don't know anybody, and I always say this, you really don't know anybody who has a child with autism, or who is an adult with autism, or who's autistic child or autistic adult, until you're in it. You're living your life, going about it as in our neurotypical world, and not even thinking of it until you're faced with this new way of living. And that is what we're doing with these kids. It's a whole different way of raising a child, completely different. So my initial feelings, and it still is with DavidJames, like, what is his future gonna be like? He has words and stuff. He's developed more language than his sister has. So, like, will he be able to go to college? And not saying that Magnolia won't be able to go to college, but it's like, if you have three neurotypical kids, you know that they'll be able to go to college or get a trade, eventually possibly get married or something like that. That's what they want to do. But with a child with an exceptionality, there's going to be so many more roadblocks that they have to, deal with, and you have to help navigate them through those roadblocks. So it's just, that was, I guess, my initial feelings, and my feelings even now is like, how is their future going to look? What else do we need to do to make sure that they are able to have a successful path to having a bright future?
Okay, my initial feelings, kind of, if I can explain this, it was kind of in and out with the feeling of her being left alone, like her being isolated from friends and being isolated from school. I mean, not so much school, but just being in that social environment and just being isolated. I could just see it in my mind that she was being set apart from everyone else because of her, exceptionality. But it was just a fear of mine of just if I could, never have her experience that. Like if I had to sit there with her. And I know I can't sit there with her forever. But if I could sit there with her, and she could always have somebody to talk to. Always have somebody. That would always be my goal. If I could provide nothing else, but making sure that she had somebody there. That's my initial feelings.
Yes, several things have changed in our lives since the diagnosis. We welcomed in, since Magnolia's diagnosis, we welcomed in 2 baby boys. And since Man's diagnosis, we welcomed in his little brother. So we added on to our family. And I remember reading a Facebook post when Magnolia was first diagnosed, because like I said, I did a lot of research and stuff. And I joined every Facebook group that I could, get my hands on to. And I remember one of the posts saying, I have an only child. And the lady was asking the group if she should have more kids because her child was diagnosed with autism. And I thought that was kind of strange to ask a group of random strangers if you should add to your family. But another thing is like, why wouldn't you want to add to your family if you have a child with an exceptionality? I don't think any only child likes necessarily being an only child if they're neurotypical. But you're creating that best friend, that lifelong advocate for the child. Not necessarily the child's future caregiver or caretaker. If that happens, so be it. But that would of course be the other child's choice. But they grow up with a child with an exceptionality, and they're able to extend that grace that a lot of adults can't, because they never had to experience being with someone with an exceptionality. And that's another thing that's changed. I would say in my day-to-day life and experience and journey through this, I extend so much grace to anyone I meet, anyone I see. If I see a child in the store having a tantrum, I used to be this. Excuse me. I used to be that parent that would say, or that person that would say, "Ooh, they need to get that child together. They need to spank that child or whatever. That child shouldn't be acting that way." I extend so much grace now to other people, because who's to say that child's not having a sexual overload, or if that child is not, having a meltdown due to a situation, due to they wanted to have something but they can't have it, and they can't control their emotions during that situation, or they're learning how to control their emotions. So I extend so much grace now to families, to people in general. And then even as an adult, because we have to raise our kids, I would definitely say we have to raise our kids differently. We can't raise them how you would raise neurotypical kids. It just does not work for our family. And so now I have this mentality of, why do we want kids to sit, be quiet, and not sing? They're kids. I think every adult can agree that adulting isn't that fun. Like, there's serious situations. Kids are just having fun, learning. Excuse me, their environment, trying new things, and we stifle that by trying to make them into little adults. So now it's like my whole mission for my children's childhood is that they be children, and that they experience their childhood as a child, and not trying to make them into a little grown up or whatever. I'm not going to give you adult expectations when you're a child, I'm not expecting you to sit down and be quiet for 2 hours straight when they have some adults who can't do that. So that's what has changed, I guess, in my life or in our lives or whatever, or my perspective basically on how I do things. It's just extending grace and, all the things.
For me, what has changed? For me, I kind of have to go back to the point of, me and Maria deciding that we're gonna, you know, join forces and get married, you know, and decide that this is a life that we're gonna live, and decide that whatever we do from here on out is us. To get to a point where we decide to have children, well, decide to have family, and then now what we thought was a normal reality.
She doesn't like that dog. So.
What we thought was a normal would be a normal reality for us ended up changing, you know, over, you know, the course of time. And yes, it's different. Yes, we're having to do things and have long nights and pretty much learn how to, you know, parent two children that are, you know, not your, you know, average typical children, though they are. And the thing that has changed, really and truly, once I accepted what was actually going on, it was never a thought of, well, life is ending, or what do I do now, or can I handle this, or, you know, no, it was only these were my babies, and that was it. And we're gonna move forward. Family and friends have been, you know, extremely supportive. My best friend found out that his daughter was autistic, and
him and her and Magnolia are the same age. They're born the same month,
right,
21 days apart.
And they found out, you know, and I don't know. I never really. I mean, I guess with being into everything that was going on, you never really have an opportunity to stop and be like, oh, this is going on, you know. It was always all gas, no brakes, you know. It was never, you know, I got a time to just stop and just have an emotional outlet for, no, it was, for me, it was, what we doing next? How we doing it? And what time I need to be there, you know. But I mean, I don't know. It was just with family. It was fine once we, you know. Of course, everybody that you tell that, hey, this is going on with your child. Oh, they're gonna be all right. It's like they got to examine your child to make sure that, oh, they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine. But they're not there every day. Mm-hmm. And them not being there every day, it's okay, that's fine. But, you know, there's still other things that you have to navigate as being parents of autistic children. The family was cool. They all right. They've been very supportive.
I agree. They have been very supportive. Sometimes to the point, with like what he was saying, like, you know, they're gonna be okay. But sometimes I think certain family members, and I think that's on both sides of our family, because they want to help us, or not help us, but they, like, we're having if there's a family gathering, they don't want to treat our kids differently. They want, like, oh, leave them alone, they're fine, and they can run around with the other kids, and it's a point where we have to say, no. They're not, like, they are kids, and thank you for loving them, and thank you for wanting them, for trying to, extend that, you know, normalizing that they can be with the kids and do the things that the kids do. But because our kids have elopement
Mm-hmm.
issues, like they will run off. So you can't just let my daughter go play with the other kids and think that she's gonna stay with the other kids, or if she's gonna run off or something like that, it's not gonna happen. So, or like with DavidJames, he wants to go outside and with the other kids who are playing basketball or whatever. He was watching the basketball, but something might catch his attention and he's gone. So, and nobody's watching him, quote unquote, because he's with the other kids or whatever. So like it's things like that we love our family for having that, but at the same time it's like, yes, they are family, but they're not they still need more parameters than the rest of the kids, and for that very reason. They are a ball of fun and energy. Energy times 1,000. It's like a no stopping until they pass out. They go. So it's always fun. They're always smiling. They're not always happy when they're kids. So they don't get something they don't want. But otherwise, they are just happy and sweet, and our kids are very affectionate. So we get tons of hugs and tons of kisses. Magnolia loves giving hugs to other kids and stuff. They're just sweet, affectionate, and they're always they got a smile on their face.
One of the challenges that I would say is figuring out exactly what they like to eat, because it's very here and there.
Very picky.
Yes, very, very picky, and sometimes they may stick to one thing, and that one thing may be the thing that they eat for a while. And then one day you introduce something different to them, or they pick up on something and they decide for that to be their one thing. So, yes, a challenge would be, I believe at first it was the insomnia too. Yeah.
It still is. That's why DavidJames is stuff.
Right. And Magnolia's now getting to the point where she's going to bed at 9 o'clock, and she's letting you know that, hey, I'm tired. This is my time.
She turns off all the lights in the house.
Yeah, she's ready.
It's time to go to bed.
Yeah,
for everyone.
For everybody. I don't care what you're doing. Go to bed. But it took some time to get to that point. Magnolia's 5 now, and for her to move into that space and say, hey, I'm going to bed. This it for me. And we could appreciate that, but it took some time, to get there.
Right.
Some parents, they have children. They're in the bed. Some of them 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
They got it good, but it took us some time for her to actually get there. And once she got there, and now we're just waiting on DavidJames to join the boat.
I would.
Yes, so that's just one of the few little challenges that I could identify at the moment.
I have one of the challenges because it's definitely that our kids are both considered nonverbal. Magnolia, she uses her talker, and that's really when she wants to. DavidJames has several words, but he doesn't use them functionally. So I would definitely say that's definitely a challenge. Is trying to figure out their needs and wants without them being able to tell you. I'm gonna get through this story without crying. One morning, Dimitri, our baby, was just a babbling and cooing and stuff. And I was like, oh, you're talking to mama? You're talking to mama. And I broke down in the kitchen. And I was like, I really want you to talk to me. I really want you to talk to me. Because it is a challenge that my 5-year-old can't have a conversation with me. My 2-year-old can't have a conversation with me. I have to figure out their wants and needs through their gestures and just being their mama. And they are saying mama and stuff, but it took a while before I heard mama. Still haven't heard I love you from my kids. So, and we have family and friends, and I know they mean well. And because they have neurotypical kids in there, they complain about their kids talking so much and they never stop talking. And it's like they'll say, once Magnolia starts talking, you're gonna want her to shut up. Once DavidJames really started, you're gonna want him to stop talking. And I'm like, I would never tell my child to be quiet. Because once in Jesus' name, like they will have functional speech. That would mean so much, and that would alleviate so many things as a mother, so I can give them what they need at the time. If they hurt themselves, I have to figure out what hurts, unless I've actually seen it. Having children, and then it's funny because I'm like, why is it called nonverbal? It's like, because they can't use speech, because our kids, if you hear DavidJames in the background, they're not quiet. They're very loud. They make a lot of noise, and and it's like they have all this noise, they stem, and they're very vocal, but it's not functional. I do see when they're excited, but when they're having a tantrum or something, I don't know why they're having a tantrum. I don't know what's going on. So it's a lot of figuring things out, and that is a daily challenge. And I know a lot of parents of autistic babies or just nonverbal kids can relate. Like that, I feel like that's probably the biggest challenge that we have. Like figuring out what they eat, that's a good one too. But being able to communicate with our kids, because autism is a communications disorder, that is the biggest challenge. You don't realize how important a 2-year-old telling you what is hurting when they're screaming until they can't tell you. So, the biggest challenges. Because in my research, like I said, when we got Magnolia's diagnosis, we received a package of like, these are the resources in your community. Good luck, basically. And I was like, well, this is it. But the first thing I wanted to do was, I knew that April was Autism Acceptance Month. And I wanted to do a walk with my baby. I wanted to celebrate her. I wanted to find community there. Because I mean, like, this paper wasn't really getting me what I needed. So maybe I should go to a walk where other like-minded and other families and groups are there. So I looked it up because it was right after COVID, because she was diagnosed in December of 21. There was nothing going on. Everything was virtual. And I'm like, well, that still isn't helping me. So I decided that I was going to host a run for Magnolia myself. And my mom was like, how about we just invite, just some family and friends, 50 people, no more than that. And I'm like, nope, I'm inviting everybody. Anybody who wants to come, I'm inviting them. And so I posted it, and we had around 200 people show up for a an event that I started planning in February and held in April, just on a whim. Just let's see what we can do. And I got the idea of it actually being a foundation from my brother-in-law, and he was like, Randy, you should just start a nonprofit and make it a foundation. And I'm like, I don't know what a nonprofit is, or not know what it is, but I don't know how to even do that. My background is cosmetology. Like, that's what I've been doing for the past 12 years. That and teaching. So it's like, I don't know what that is. So I figured it out, basically. And we're still figuring it out in year 3. But we started the whole, the idea behind our foundation is, it's normalizing autism in children, one play date at a time. The play dates were based off of me and my best friend. We were pregnant at the same time with girls. Because we would meet every month and we would have them have a play date with the girls. And they grew up playing with each other, and they're 5 now, but we started noticing, or I noticed, Magnolia wasn't doing all the things Esther was doing. But that never changed Esther's love for her or Magnolia's love for Esther. Esther has become completely acclimated to Magnolia, even her loud stems and her big tight hugs. She knows that's how Magnolia communicates. She's patient with Magnolia, and she loves Magnolia. And so my whole thing was, if Esther can do this and she is a child, learning and growing up with her, and now even at the age of 5 or whatever, she's like, oh, this is Magnolia, she's autistic, but she's still my friend, she's still my sister, she's still we call them play cousins or whatever. Like, she's to Esther, she's just another kid. Then when she becomes an adult, like, that would just change how the world is. Like, it would be more inclusive. So that was the whole point behind the play dates, is bring neurotypical kids and the neurodivergent children, or the children with exceptionalities, into a safe place where they can learn about each other's differences through play. And that's what we started. When we were in school, the special education kids, they were always separated. You didn't interact with them. You don't know about them. I mean, so you don't know. But autism has been around for so long. If we would have just been involved with those children in their lives too, we probably would have a world that was more inclusive now. But that's the whole premise behind what we're doing in the foundation, is normalizing this, because so many kids have autisms. There are so many children with other exceptionalities, because we've literally branched off into other exceptionalities as well, with these play dates, that want to be accepted, and they just want to play. They just want to be a kid. How they play and how they may look different, but they're a kid and they all want to do the same thing and just have fun. And that's what all we're trying to do, is facilitate that. Definitely benefited our family, because I needed that community. We needed a community of families who have autistic kids. We didn't know anybody. Like he said, he has his best friend, but hey, their daughter got diagnosed right after our daughter got diagnosed. So we were all new to this. And so we needed other families who didn't know what they were doing and wanted to figure it out with us, and who knew and who could help us along this journey. So it's benefit. Like, we have literally made lifelong friends. I have kiddos that we see at every play date, and they're like, hey, Miss Miranda, we're excited. They're excited to see me. I'm excited to see them. They were all excited to see the baby. When the baby came a couple days, like, why is your stomach getting so big? Well, I'm pregnant. But, we truly built a family. And it's a family of understanding. It's people that we can go to, and I can tell them about my kid still not being potty trained and how it's frustrating to me. Because I can't go to my neurotypical friend and talk to them about my 5-year-old not being potty trained. They're looking at me like, why isn't your kid potty trained? It's hard. Like, the communication barrier is there. You know, she doesn't want to do it. She only wants to do it certain places and stuff. But if I go to one of my friends who I've met through the foundation, play dates, through the parent support group meetings that we do, they understand. They're like, oh yeah, my kid's not doing that too. And we can talk to each other and help each other figure out what to do, because we have more of our children are more similar. And that's how it's benefited our family, because just developing that community, that you have somebody to rely on who understands what you're going through and the journey that we're all taking. Okay, so it's important that we continue to do these play dates and parent support group meetings. I kid you not, every single play date, if me and my mom, because my mom helps me with a lot of the play dates, she's always there checking people in. If we do not cry at a play date from a story that a family has told us about an experience that they've had, that their child has had in public, that things that they're going through, or like, this is my child's first time in a movie. I was so scared to bring my child to a movie. This is the first time I've seen my child interacting with kids their age. This is the first time that my child actually went up and initiated play. We have so many firsts here at the foundation. We have so many. I have friends now who understand me. Not me. I'm talking about other parents saying, like, I've met other parents at the play date that now I call and talk to. Like, they've developed relationships, community, support from one another. These are things that, because when you get this diagnosis, unfortunately, you feel lost. Like, what do I do? But now, our whole thing is for these parents to have somewhere to go, that they don't have to feel that way. That they have somebody who can support them at the beginning of their journey, throughout their journey, or whatever. Because this is a lifelong journey. Our autistic children will grow up to be autistic adults. So these kids, when they're excited to see each other and to play with each other, because they are developing relationships as well, and they're socializing. That's one of the main things that they say about autistic kids or autistic adults, is that they have a problem with socializing, and that they don't know how to act in social situations. But these children are thriving at these play dates. They are making friends. And I've heard that some just not only at the play dates, but they're having outside play dates. Like, parents and families are meeting up and stuff. So it's really, we're growing a community of acceptance, and we have to continue this because it's so needed in the community. I got a Facebook message today from a family from Lafayette who says that they're coming to the play date that we're having in July, the next week. They're coming from Lafayette to come to one of our play dates. I thought that it was amazing that we had a few people from Jackson, Mississippi, and Ponchatoula, and Hammond. But these people are coming from Lafayette. I'm like, okay. Like, if parents, and I think any good parent will travel or go to where the opportunities are better for their child. They see that these play dates are fun and they're accepting. So families are coming to these events. And once they come, they're like every single one. Our last movie play date, we had 86 kids. That's 86 kids who got popcorn, drink, and a snack. And when I tell you, the only thing we got was thank yous, and my child had so much fun. I never experienced a movie theater like this, an event like this. We get so much from this, like gratitude or whatever, from the families. Like, we have to keep doing this. Like, it's needed. Even the support groups, just to be able to vent to somebody who understands. We one support group meeting, nothing but potty training. Then we talking about one support group meeting. My kid only eats this. What does your kid eat? Oh, my it doesn't. I mean, there's so many things that we can talk about, and it makes you just feel good that you're not alone in this journey. So that's why we need to keep it going. The reason why you should donate to the MRF is because we are a growing nonprofit that is benefiting our local community. We have gone to now doing 2 play dates a month, and these play dates are growing. We started off at having around maybe 20 or 30 people for a play date, sometimes 50 at the most. But now we're seeing 86 kids, 75 kids, 74 kids. I'm just the last few play dates that we've had, and that's just the children. The parents, they pay a portion for themselves, but every play date that we have is free for these kids. And that experience, the experience is wonderful for the families, but because we're growing, we need funding. We want to do more for our community. We want to have more play dates. We want to be able to do this every single weekend, having somewhere for these families to go to. But until then, we'll be doing our 2 play dates a month, and we want to continue to expand, throughout the parishes. Right now, we're doing play dates in EBR, Ascension, and Livingston parishes. But we want to continue to expand and grow. But with that, we do need funding to be able to do so. So hopefully, you would like to donate and help us continue with our mission, normalizing autism in children, 1 play date at a time.